One, and we are on. This is SHB Unfiltered, the only daily podcast featuring people who stutter, running daily feeds on Facebook. We run every day during lockdown from London, right from our homes. Got Ayo Adesanya here with us and
Hello, guys.
Christopher Jackson. Chris, what episode are we on?
Hello, guys. Number 10.
Number 10
already. Number 10.
Double digits, mate. How does that feel?
Feels great. Feels good to be a part of the only daily live podcast every day during COVID-19. 10 already. Quick.
Does it feel like it's taken a lot of effort to pull off?
Not really. I'm enjoying it. It's the highlight of my day still.
It's because I'm doing all the work. That's why. No, but to be honest, it's easy when you got a kind of like a smooth system in place. Zoom is fantastic for it. AO has the tech on lock, and we just churn out this gold every day at 6:27, 6:25, whatever time in the evening it is. How is everyone doing today, Ayo?
I'm feeling good today. Nice and warmed up for this podcast. Nice and warmed up.
How's the day been, man? Go on, expand a bit, bro.
Well,
you want to keep it short, Chris, isn't it? That's why.
If I'm honest, it's not much to it, mate. just at home like you guys, right? Just doing stuff. Nothing. Not much is going on. Yeah, it's a bit boring, but yeah. Doing some work on the charity, actually. We did quite a lot of work in the morning. That was fun. So we do expect some news to come out in a few weeks' time. Some really good news. So let's hope for that. But apart from that, It's been pretty mellow.
Chris Jackson, what's been happening on Monday, the 30th of March?
Monday, the 30th of March. Well, this morning, we were all doing some work on the charity, which was good. It was good to finalise that. It's something we need to finalise for a while. And then had to get over to my day job, the recruitment company. I've got to run payroll for that, which wasn't too challenging because there wasn't a lot of people at work last week. So it didn't take too long. And yeah, just trying to get everything in order for that. A lot of things to sort out with HMRC because of the COVID-19, but it's on track. It's all under control. It's all good. We've got a lot of time on our hands anyway, so no pressure.
All right, cool. I just thought to kick off the week, let's start off a bit salty. So yeah, I had a few topics in mind, a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but to be honest, I scrapped that about half an hour ago. Chris, you got an email today. Tell us what it was about, please. Tell us what that email was about. And I got a few questions around it.
Email received today.
You don't need to name any names, but go for it.
The email I received today came out of the blue. A specific therapy program that I was a part of a while ago. When you register with them, you get a lifetime membership. And today I received an email saying that because I decided to join another program, I no longer is my membership as this program accessible, and it's now terminated, which means I'm not allowed to go on any courses, not allowed to go on any open days or anything like that, or not allowed access to any of their phone lists or anything like that.
So just the first question from me then. Did you ever attend or intend to go back to any of their support groups or courses in the future and like kind of use their contact list and get in touch with them and I guess stay within their group? because I would see a problem here if there was an intention, and because they have gone back on their word to honor the lifetime membership, then there is a problem there. So did you ever intend to go back at any point?
I didn't intend to ever go back. I feel like I've got the tools and the know-how to get through any situations that I find myself in the future with life and speech. But that's not what the issue is here. The issue is here is that apparently I signed an agreement when I joined the program, which I can't remember personally doing. I was very young at the time. I was 13 years old at the time. But apparently there's an agreement that you are not allowed to try any other therapy program. Otherwise, what has happened to me will happen to anyone who does try to seek help elsewhere. It's more of the point that just because you sign up to a program, how does that give that program the right to your speech? That's what I can't get my head around.
Ethically then, do you think that this is an issue? Because fair enough for you personally, you are in a really good place and you have the ability to coach yourself, and regardless of any kind of termination of your contract with the program, you are within a really strong group, and you have been for the past few years. But for any other person who wants to investigate more approaches, this sends out the wrong message, right? That kind of, I wouldn't say imprison, but there's some kind of ethical dilemma here, isn't there?
To be honest, I think if I was part of any other organization, I think I would have got away with it. And I think that they would never really know. I think that the majority of people could try other programs. I'm sure there are people that try a few of the other options out there, as well as the one that I was on. It's just difficult to understand how they have the right to do that, because I'm lucky that I have the support network that I have if I need it. I'm lucky that I have got to grips with my speech, but there's a lot of people out there that haven't, and they may have been on that program for years. And the key thing here is that it's not necessarily the program that helps the individual, it's the people that that person meets on that program. So that person can go on that program 2, 3, 4 times before it clicks for them. I mean, they could be on it for 10 years before it clicks for them, because after the 20th course they've been on, they've met that key individual that has helped make it more, has helped them to understand it.
But do you
and
think
that's
that's
exactly what happened to me.
But do you think that that's a problem in itself, that it should take 20 courses for something to click? That's, there's...
Well, yeah, that's a problem, but that is the reality of it. Some people it click for them straight away. Other people, they keep going back on courses and keep needing help. And then they meet that person that can explain it to them in a way that's relatable, understandable, and they're able to click with that person and push each other and take action. And that's what happened with me. And I worry that if someone else finds themselves in the situation that I am in, and they haven't got the support that I have, or they haven't got the know-how, or they haven't taken the action that I have to get to the point that I am, they will miss out on the potential opportunity in meeting that key person for them.
Well, wait a second. Let's go back a little bit. the point is, a person who stutters has paid £1,000, right, to help get coached, to help get the therapy they need to improve their life. They've paid for a service. They have not paid to join a club where it comes with these rules and these conditions.
It's not a football team, bro. As in you're prohibited from playing for two teams
You're paying
or whatever. That transfer windows.
Yeah, you're paying for help because you're in a dilemma. You're paying for help, bro. Like, you're paying for help. That's it. You're not paying for anything else. So when they turn around and tell you, you have to now, you've got some help and you've received some help, you now have to join the club and be part of us, or else we will stop giving you the help you have paid for in advance, which is lifetime membership. What? Membership, lifetime
That's
membership.
True.
Lifetime membership. And they've taken that away.
And then
for what reason? Wait, I'm not finished, bro.
Go on.
They have taken that away because you, as an individual, have grown, and now you want to expand yourself. You want to actually use the stuff you've learned from that program and apply it to yourself in a greater way, which might mean you might do things which are outside that program, which is normal, right? You want to do presentations, you want to help other people, you want to maybe join other programs to see how they can help your speech even more. But with this program, if you do that, you get kicked out. It's disgusting.
The problem I see now is, are new people who kind of enter the forum, are they aware of this from the start? Because things change and you may want to kind of like get in touch with the wider stuttering community, do like kind of awareness work with them, and not just focus on yourself and that small group that you're part of. And I don't know, it just feels it feels a bit weird, and it instills a bit of fear into some of these people within their network. At what point do they get terminated? Because is it if they start talking to people from different groups, or so start appearing in pictures with them on social media? At what point? Because I wouldn't assume that they did any investigation. Did they send a private investigator after you and track your movements, see if you're breathing any differently, etc.? So it does feel a bit strange, but we're gonna welcome our resident cue ball.
Yes, Sanjog. Yes, Sanjog, my guy.
Surprise, everyone.
Good time. Sanjog.
Hold on one sec.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you close the curtain, bro? Chris, like, would you apply the same restrictions here with any SHB services?
No way. Never. Everyone has the right to do whatever they want to get the help that they need. And if they feel like, but 1 minute, I didn't even attend another course. This is the thing. So the reason why they've revoked my membership isn't actually valid at all, because I haven't been to any other intensive therapy programs.
Just to fill you in, Sanjog, Chris.
Let me guess.
Yeah, Chris received his P45.
What? So, what?
Yeah, so Chris received his P45 from the M group a few hours ago. And
Seriously?
So we're talking about some of the kind of ethical issues surrounding it, because the grounds of which this was terminated, I could see it as an angle to strike a bit of fear into the wider community, because outside of them, like, things are pretty fluid. You can engage with kind of different groups and attend different events, and there is a fair amount of civil behavior between them. But this type of action, it does cause some kind of issue, because the reason I'm kind of a bit concerned by it is a couple of people from the SHB community are actually from that program, have been part of that program, they support that program, but they also support us. They want to get involved with the work we do, because we are kind of engaged with the wider community, doing cool stuff online. We're a bit more of a personal group. We have faces where for them it's just behind a brand name. And yeah, so we were discussing some of the issues behind it, and I've got a few follow-up questions a bit later on, but seeing as you came in at this good juncture, have you got any experiences yourself or any thoughts that you could add to the current discussion?
Well, can I ask you, why did they actually kick you out? Chris?
The email said because I attended other programs.
Right. You haven't though, right?
No,
So why have you been kicked out?
I don't know.
Well,
But that's
what's the
not
problem?
point.
But what's not the point?
But
That's not the point,
not
Sanjog.
Yeah, because
No.
and it's in, if I want to step things up and I kind of take up like an acting class and stuff, and they breathe differently, they will teach me like a different way of breathing, then what's going to happen? It's true, right? It's true.
Yeah. So
Hypothetically. Do you have any personal experience in this field? Not field, but has this happened to you?
No, it hasn't actually happened, but I've definitely tried other therapies. I'm still on the M group, but I don't understand how you have to just stick to one specific, good group or therapy. If you spent the X amount, for the membership, I personally think it's a bit. I don't know. It just seems a bit unethical to just revoke that membership.
The other problem, Sanjog, is actually Chris signed this, or his dad signed it when he was 13 years old. So
I don't remember that, by the way.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the thing is, yeah,
surely he's allowed to make some choices for himself when he turns 18 and 20 and investigate things and get some email out of the blue saying, sorry, mate.
Yeah, I just think
Can I come in quickly?
17 years later as well.
Can I come in quickly? This what they are doing is unethical, because I've had a few people, quite a few people in the past year, approach me on emails or face to face or in our Slack group and the old group we had on WhatsApp, who said they would like to join Stop Holding Back, or at least get involved with what we are doing to expand their own comfort zones for themselves. But they've been told if they are seen with any member of Stop Holding Back, they will have their membership terminated. And I have this in writing as well, screenshots, everything.
So saying if they are in a social media post or say if they were giving a speech in front of 1,000 people, and if Chris was in the background clapping, you're saying that they would receive his email by the time they got home.
Yes, and they are very fearful, and that's what keeps them in a situation where they can't improve their speech, because they are not allowed to branch out. They are not allowed to. They have to grow within that program so they can help the program itself grow. It's not about the individual. It's about the program. That's the most important thing from my perspective.
And then that's what it comes down to, because if you put the brand over the person, then you will eventually kind of lose people from the group, but they don't seem concerned by it because they already have your money from the first day, and whoever stays will kind of be their foot soldiers, the corner boys, slinging every day. But the ones who really need the help, they will start to slip away from the program, find it hard to re-engage, and then B, find it fearful to actually engage a new program, a different group that may be more welcoming, in the fear that they can't go back to the previous one. And now that's where I have an issue, because ethically you can't own someone's right to pick something else, especially if they've paid you money for service and a membership.
It's craziness. And it just makes no sense whatsoever. You've paid them. They are not paying you. You do not owe them anything because they've asked you to pay a fee in return to go on their program. You have attended their program. You have paid the fee. What do I owe you now? What could I possibly owe you now? You've asked me to pay you a fee. I've paid you the fee. You've outlined what you get in return for that fee. So what do I owe you now?
They mugged you off, Chris.
They took your money, bro.
Right.
They took your money, bro.
They took yours as well, mate.
You know what you should do, Chris? What we should do is still, like, you should actually attend the next course, just for jokes.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not about that, because
you weren't intending to. Or just go in 10 years' time. They'll probably forgotten about it.
No, it's not that. It's if someone else had attended another course and they still didn't get the help they needed from that other course, and they were planning through this COVID-19 that their speeches really got bad, and I'm looking forward to trying out Maguire one more time, you know, I really want to go back. They could have potentially done that to someone who really needs that help. And that's the only thing that has kind of got to me. I'm lucky that I'm not that person.
The other thing, Chris, sorry, I was stuck on mute, but the other thing is, when you said before that it may take someone a first course, fourth course, sixth course, 20th course to actually make some progress and then find the right people. But you were lucky because you found them pretty early on your second stint. But don't you think it was a bit dodge that they got chucked off as well? So, like, I'm to just mean that I see a slight trend here And ethically, there's a massive problem because it seems like the ones who care the most and want to do more for the wider community and go above and beyond are actually the ones that are being slit in the throat, to be fair, or backstabbed.
Ruben, you just hit the nail on the head. You just hit the nail on the head. The people who actually want to help the wider community, who actually want to help people who can't afford that payment, are the ones who are penalized. The people who have a heart, they're the ones who are penalized.
The next thing I want to discuss then is what would SHB do differently, and would SHB have any facilities in place for people from these other programs who are scared of revealing themselves? Do we have any witness protection program capabilities to keep them safe? Lads,
keep them safe. That's it's mad we're actually having this conversation and we're having to discuss this topic. It's actually crazy. But
what did Sandra say in the group that, well, at some point we're going to run out of topics, but don't worry, I'll keep pulling them out of the back door. But yeah, you're saying, Chris, go for it.
No, it's crazy that we're having this conversation, seriously. I suppose people that do approach us to enroll on any of the courses that we provide, and they do choose not to want to be shown on any of our social media pages, website, or any type of advertising, then yeah, we can implement that. We can give them some type of witness protection, if you like. I've already had it. I've already had calls from numerous people saying, listen, I'm struggling a little bit. I really want some help. Do you mind helping me? But like, can we keep it between us? And it's just really sad that people feel that way.
The funny thing is, I still receive calls from members on that course because I'm on their support list. And sometimes if I'm a bit busy, I just say, sorry, mate, I shouldn't really be on this list. But other times, if I've got free time and got nothing better to do, just have a chat for about 20 minutes. And there's some cool people who still call in asking for help. And it's a shame because it has so much potential to actually be a beacon for good, but it's just become self-fulfilling for a small group of people. And there are groups there who have their own agendas, their own angles. There's been times there, AON, they were having boardroom arguments around how to coastal breathe.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that madness?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
was hilarious. That was hilarious, man.
Oh, this was trying to keep a straight face. I was thinking.
When was this?
On a coaching course. On a coaching course.
Oh,
Me and
really?
Ruben.
Dude,
Me and Ruben
some of the dumbest
were on
shit I've heard.
me and Ruben were on the same coaching training in quotes. We were on the same training, and
Let me
they
do
had an argument.
demonstration. So,
All right, go on then.
So they were arguing over these two things, right? So if I go or
Oh, yeah.
which one's the right way, or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard the arguments.
And wait, and just to give some context about how silly it was. Come back here, sit down. Just to give a bit of context, people would like having these cross-border conversations across the US, Scandinavia, Germany, and they're all arguing over like just this dumb madness. And at the same time, there's people on your program who are scared to come back, scared to call coaches, coaches scared to call coaches, coaches struggling to get up in the morning and then come in a course and acting like things are fine. And these guys are just in their room on their Zoom calls talking like this random, you know what? Bizarre, man, bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do. Like, it lasted for half the day. Just coaches, staff, trainers, just arguing about buh and buh, right? Which one's correct? There's too much. It's just crazy. But anyways,
let's just say there was a point when I had a lot of free time in my hands, and I spent it in a room listening to these guys debate this for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but we are free now, and now we have sense, so that's okay.
Sanjay, are you free?
I'm feeling pretty awkward during this whole conversation.
Do you know what? You know, like, we'll probably find out if they're watching this.
It just seems like anybody who speaks to AO just gets kicked off, basically. So it's a bit scary. But like, I haven't been yet, so that's a good start. And I don't understand all the hate. Like, if you guys are helping people, which you are, that's awesome. If they're helping people, which they are, that's awesome. So I don't understand why there's all this hate about you guys specifically. How did it all actually start? No, because when it started, I was hiding in the swamp, right? And I wasn't speaking to anybody on the program. I don't actually know how it all started off and how AO got kicked out.
I think the best person to tell the story is Chris.
Oh, okay.
It's not Chris's fault. Chris and Simon Bailey.
Why is it my fault?
Oh, actually, I have heard this. Yeah.
Yeah, that evening started.
Let's see code names again. So let's call Chris C, and let's call Simon S.
So just to cut a long story short, I was annoyed that the support systems weren't great and people were not getting the support they needed. So they have a phone list and no one hardly ever picked up the phone to support, especially people who had just come off a course. So I spent a lot of time talking to people who had just finished their first course of this program. And I had a lot of complaints from them, newbies, that I'm the only person they talk to because nobody else picks up, right? So what I did is I made a WhatsApp group and I started my own little support group and I called it Stop Holding Back for Fun. And Chris, want to carry on from here?
Together with the progress that I was making, it turned out that between me and AO, we were helping a lot of people. That would be fair to say, because they would go through some coaching with AO, then they'd talk to me afterwards. And we were at home, at my house, one evening, and my dad said, let's start a charity. So we decided to start a charity.
I think we skipped a lot of bits, Chris, because, sorry, it's just something, but the two of you were literally going above and beyond, man, above and beyond. AO was actually meeting people when they called him, and these guys are like, oh, this guy, he's actually spending time like going up to people, meeting them in person. Whereas,
Yeah, both of us were. Yeah.
whereas,
Right.
oh, sorry, you as well, Chris. Sorry for forgetting you, bro.
Yeah.
But the point is, you weren't just some phone call for someone to pick up and kind of scold you for not doing anything and tell you the script. Because Sandjog, the difference here is, like, you are on this podcast, right? If they had an equivalent one and if you were on their one, you wouldn't get past the first sentence. Second sentence, they would be ordering you to do a number of things before you progress, and in that process you would have lost your message. They wouldn't even be listening to what you're saying. And that's the difference, because we operate the other way. We listen to what you say and then listen to you and then kind of work from you backwards, as opposed to just focusing purely
on the speech. Yeah.
how it sounds. Yeah, like, cause it got to a point where people weren't even listening to what you're saying. And someone said to me on the call once, when they were using technique, he just stopped and goes, as in he was saying something, and I was like, all right, wait, what did you say? And then he goes, I'll tell you what, man, I've got no idea, but because they weren't even talking about that point. They were just focusing on like some next level coastal breathing, which is all good, but as in the end, like, you lose communication, you start to lose yourself. And Chris and A were actually helping people to find themselves and focusing on people. Hand it back over to Chris to tell you what happened afterwards.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm struggling to remember if AO received his email before we'd decided to form the charity. I can't remember.
Didn't something happen on
Yes.
one of the courses, first of all?
So this is the
night.
part that Chris missed out.
So, talking about Greece?
No, afterwards on the Wembley course.
That was before Greece.
Before Greece.
Oh, my little speech. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Your incredible speech. The best speech I've ever heard in my whole life.
Okay, cheers. But I think that speech upset a lot of people. The speech was of me describing my first experience. Simon Bailey asked me to make a speech to all the primary coaches, because on that particular course there was a lot of minors on the course, people under the age of 16, and they were wanted to focus.
Go on, Chris. Sorry, making sounds.
What's wrong?
No, go on.
Yeah,
you're good.
They wanted to improve the way that this specific course was taught to people under the age of 16, and because I had been on the course at such a young age, Simon Bailey wanted me to give a description of my experience. So I did that. I was very honest with what I had experienced, very honest with what I was experiencing now, and explain the difference. It never went down too well, put it that way. Never went down too well at all. And I think that was the beginning of the end for Simon Bailey and AR.
Yeah, because the speech was all about how poor the support was for people who were struggling. All of the people who weren't struggling got all the speaking time, all of the cool stuff where they can actually become these coaches and feel like they're important. Whereas if you were struggling, you were told to just be quiet and sit in the corner. Not told to, but that's the impression I felt. They were told to just be quiet, stay in the corner and breathe. Breathe until you can use the technique and join in. But until you can use the technique, you couldn't really join in, and you felt like an outcast, like you weren't working hard enough, like you wasn't performing. And that is what I saw, and that is why I became a rebel, and I started to help other people. And I got warnings, but I paid no attention to them. This WhatsApp group grew. And then, I don't know, I got an email saying, "You're gone, mate." You're gone.
Yeah, but
And that
it's
was
very
it.
difficult to pay attention to the warnings when you're actually helping people and changing people's lives. You know what I mean? So that's obviously why you wasn't paying attention to the warnings.
Yeah, because it was fun, and I was seeing results. And then you came along. I helped you a little bit. Then you joined in. I started to do a lot of work, a hell of a lot of work. Then Ruben came in a bit later on. He was a bit more undercover, but he was there. He was helping
Now,
a lot
to
of
be
people.
honest, this is actually Ruben's fault. If I
It's
remember
crazy.
rightly, this is all Ruben's fault. Because that evening that I had to make that speech, I remember standing outside the room and I had only just met Ruben. And I was like, listen, this is too much for me, man. I've been working on my speech this long. It's too much to start making a speech in front of everyone, blah, blah, blah. And Ruben was the one that gave me the pre-speech prep talk that encouraged me to go out and execute it.
Mate,
so really,
it's called top
I'm blaming
quality
Ruben
coaching.
for this one.
It's called top quality coaching. But what was even more amazing was the number of coaches or directors or instructors, or I don't know exactly what they're called now, but they were walking out in between just to head to the pub because they were a bit thirsty. And I kind of thought it was a bit odd because you were actually informing them, giving them a lot of advice that could enable them to do what they were there for that weekend a lot better, and going forward do things a lot better, because at the moment it works if you actually seek out the help afterwards. But come on, man, like the majority of people who turn up, these guys are scared shitless. You have to like hold their hand and take them through to a point where they will actually be proactively asking for help. But after you do that first course and then maybe the next 2 months or so, people get lost in the cracks, and sometimes they turn up 16 years later on, like you, Chris. Sometimes it's a lot earlier, but there is an issue there. Just gonna give a bit of attention to the Facebook feed. So we've got Leo saying, really good stuff indeed. I had to choose between a group program and a private coaching. I chose private and I made the right decision. I just feel like I need more coaching at the moment. And it's fine to ask, and sometimes a group may suit a person better. But I always feel that when you're in a group coaching environment, there's a lot more needed from the participant to actually step forward and put the hand up and be kind of proactive, because the way things are structured at the moment seems to suit extroverted people a lot more than introverted people, which is the next question. So how would you tailor your approach to the needs of both? Because the majority of the people who are seen as successful on that course could be more extroverted than the others who aren't as like progressed on that course. So how would you tailor your approach between the two types of personalities, Sanjog?
I just want to add on to that. I've been on courses, and and I've seen this happen loads. Anybody who's struggling, or they're kind of shy, they hardly ever speak up, and they don't actually have the opportunity to actually speak up. Like, if you want to speak up, the first person to stand up and start speaking speaks, right? And only the confident, extroverted people actually speak up. And I've been on courses at the start. I was struggling because I'm an extrovert. Toward the end of it, I was happy to just stand up, speak up, use the techniques. And I was having to help people who were scared to do that, I was having to push some of the others who were higher, and I'd be like, dude, just stand up, speak up, double your volume. And I think to get over this issue, you'd have to have a course where, I don't know, actually, if you wanted to speak up, maybe put your hand up instead, because some people are scared of taking the step of actually standing up and having everyone's eyes on them,
So that's pretty much like the basis of the question, because would you have to like reconfigure it differently depending on the personalities you have on there? Because like, so Chris and Ayo, for example, when you're coaching the people that come to you, are they mostly introverted or extroverted?
They're extroverted, from in my experience.
What about the introverted ones?
The people I have spent the most time with, who I've coached, have been extroverted. I guess that's because they have more confidence to actually ask for help and seek help and do the stuff that's more needed for them to progress. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm not too sure, but from my experience, I've helped the people that have come to me have been people who have been more confident just in general about life.
What about that guy who you were paired up with? I think it was your last one of that program, but the guy called
Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone.
No. That's that guy. I'm talking about the very last one. I think his name was James.
James.
You know what I'm talking about? Like Mr. Introverted. Like next level introverted.
Oh, is it the guy who couldn't breathe?
I don't know if he'll still be around right now, but
No.
Yeah, I think you know who I'm talking about.
James. Was he a little kid?
No, he was like a student.
Not him.
He was scared.
He was scared.
Scared.
James.
Yeah.
I can't remember, man. I've helped so many people, bro. I can't remember, man.
Let's just say they paired Ayo up with someone who you'd consider like the exact opposite of him, like in every single way. Just like a small, meek.
Oh, quiet, yes, I remember this guy.
He's scared of everything. scared
Yeah,
of him.
yeah. He has some issues, man. I felt so sorry for the guy.
But
And
like,
he wasn't supported at all.
did you learn anything from that afternoon or that day?
Yeah, I learned a lot that
Go on.
I had to adjust my coaching style to him. I couldn't use the tools that I've used time and time and again with the same type of person. I had to really think about what I chose to say to this guy. Because if I had said the wrong thing, that could have scarred him for life. I couldn't be so aggressive and so like, just do it. I had to really become his friend first. I had to become his friend first and really understand who he was, and then he could feel more comfortable with opening up himself to me, if you know what I mean. I couldn't just be so direct with him.
Yeah,
That was an interesting experience.
So this is what I was saying about going above and beyond to actually make things work. And you were doing all this in your spare time as a volunteer.
Yeah, it was tough. But that experience with, his name wasn't James, it was Daniel, I think his name was. It was Daniel, or whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
I learned a great deal with him, yeah. And what happened after about a month or two with him, he left, I heard. He stopped making phone calls in general because I couldn't devote my whole time to him. So if I couldn't pick up, he had really no one else to speak to because no one was available on the phone list at that time. So eventually I heard he left or he stopped.
Was any effort made to actually kind of bring him back in the loop?
Well, he's an introvert, so he wasn't gonna, this is a great assumption, but he wasn't gonna really make the first step. It had to be the program, and the program did not make the first step. It did not.
There's some full-time people on there. They can do like drive-bys and just knock on people's door and just see what's going on. Because in the end, if I'm paying that amount of money, then you're holding kind of other people accountable as well. But if you're just paying a brand name, then it's a bit different, isn't it? And paying one person to actually coach you. There is an element of accountability. When I was training Thai boxing in Thailand, say if I had like a line one day, or if I overslept, there'll be a knock on my door. Some angry Thai boxer saying, "Get up and come. Do your 6K run." And that wasn't like, oh my God, terrible. That's what I signed up for. That's what you sign up for. And this is all a lesson for Stop Holding Back, because we do not want to turn into something like that where you don't treat people like people. You've got volunteers devoting their spare time, their energies, their intelligence to actually help people who have paid you. And then you turn around and you throw it back in their face. Bless you. He's sneezing. You can't do that to people. And if anything, Stop Holding Back is people first, personal development, people development. And we don't see these people as just a paycheck or people who stutter and you need to correct the shit out of everything they say. Because if that was the case, then this podcast would get nowhere. And that's true, right?
Exactly. Because my speech is not as strong as it was, I would say, a year and a half ago. But what has changed is I am stronger as a person, and I can say with a hand on my heart, I do not hold back in a lot of things. In things that I really care about, I don't hold back in. But a year and a half ago, when my speech was stronger, I did, because I was scared of failure, scared of stuttering when my speech was so strong. So I did not want to take the risk to prove to myself that actually I'm not as strong as I thought I was with my speech. If I put myself in situations where I knew deep down in my heart, I would probably stutter more than I would like to. But these days, I have the balance. I stutter quite a bit more, but I'm achieving more. And for me, that's the most important thing.
Just a quick one before I hand it back to you guys. Got a lovely question comment from a friend of the charity, Arthur. What program did he get expelled from, and what was the reason given? Oof.
You missed the whole podcast, mate.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. But
yeah, he tuned in.
What's the whole podcast?
He tuned in after, didn't he? But I won't tell you the program name, but I can give you the reason for it. I can actually read it out. As you will be aware, when you enrolled in the program, you signed an agreement which it was acknowledged you would not take part in any other stuttering treatment program. The reason behind this is, from our experience, it is very difficult to give 100% commitment to more than one program, resulting in neither program being effective. We now know you are now involved in another program, and therefore, under the terms of the agreement that you signed, we have terminated your membership.
When you were 13 years old?
Yeah, but I know for a fact that I didn't personally sign. Or if I did, I cannot remember personally signing anything. I don't know if my dad did.
What was your signature like when you were 13? Then
can we share this email, guys?
Nothing.
It's possible.
No, there's no need for that. It's all right. It's all right.
There's no need, mate. No need.
No need.
No.
Even a screenshot. Just a screenshot.
No.
But
No.
your membership means that it's revoked in every region that this particular program operates in. So even if I wanted to go and get involved in another,
I swear you can just sneak into one of those courses in Argentina, Mexico, man. Don't worry, bro. Don't worry.
I'm not worried at all. But I fear for the people coming through after me.
Don't worry about it, bro. Go on, Sanjog.
Talk a little bit about what AO was talking about earlier, how even though his speech was technically stronger, he was still holding back, right? And I can heavily relate to this, because even at my strongest on the M group, I was still holding back loads. Like, I would never ever speak to girls, hardly ever. Even though I was using all the techniques, and I was good at home, I was good at uni, and obviously I was really good speaking to anybody on the M group, but in every other area I was holding back hugely. And at the moment, in terms of the M group, my speech would be classed as out of control, and therefore it's bad, right? It's bad. However, in terms of how much I'm holding back in other areas of my life, I'm holding back way less than I did a couple of years ago. I've been on the streets approaching girls, which literally I was scared shitless to do, and I've been actively pushing my comfort zone anyway. So it's not all about your speech, right? If it's always about your speech, you're going to be screwed. Your speech is never going to be 100% all the time. Well, I personally think you should be focusing more on how much are you actually holding back, how much are you avoiding, and are you speaking your truth as well?
Yeah, for me, the key is avoiding. As long as you're not avoiding, in my opinion, once you've built a foundation, I think you have got the right to decide your point of balance. So for me, once I've built my foundation, learned techniques, and I've done the work, I've decided that as long as I'm not avoiding, I'm okay. That's for me. As long as I'm not avoiding words, like I had a bad stutter a few minutes ago on the word up. Normally, back in the day, I would have avoided that because I would have knew ahead of time that up would have been a no-go. But that thought of avoidance, it did not come into my head. I just went for it. And I knew I was about to struggle, but I did it anyway. And for me, that shows me I've grown and I have more self-esteem because I am willing to go on live and stutter. That's why I have a lot of respect for you, Sandro, because I know that speech for you is a bit hard, but you're on here and you're stuttering and you're happy and you look happy as well. That's the most important thing to me. You look like you're enjoying yourself, even though you're stuttering. And for a lot of people who stutter, that's a dream. That's a dream.
I'm so
So you know what, bro? I salute you, mate.
Thanks, man.
The other thing is that I'll be fairly quick with this one, but if kind of getting better speech is your aim, set yourself like a big time limit. Say 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to take yourself to another level, but don't put your life on hold just for your speech. Keep kind of tackling things that you want to do, going after the different objectives, different dreams and goals. If you think it will be a problem, it will be a problem. And if it is actually a problem and stopping you from performing certain roles, activities, then really focus on bringing yourself to a level where you can do those things. But if perfection is your aim, you will always be limiting the things that you can do in life. And that's the problem. Because I doubt you're going to find any people from the M group doing a daily live podcast feed every single day. This is completely ad lib. We haven't rehearsed anything. Nothing premeditated here. And this is why we're running this, just to show you that anything is possible with us. Just trust what we do, because we do it ourselves. We preach it ourselves. We believe it ourselves. We will help you. We will help the person first and help you kind of take your life to the goals and dreams that you want to reach. So CJ.
I think important to add.
Cop that, mate.
But no, I think important to add what AO was describing is that AO has proven to himself that he's on his own journey. So he's not going to be dictated to by anyone out there that thinks he should have speech like this, or he should be at this point by this time. And Sanjog the same, and I definitely know that Ruben's the same as that. And what that proves is that you're on your own path. I think a big issue in people progressing with their speech is when they're constantly comparing themselves to other people and comparing their speech to other people. And when you're working on yourself and your speech, you need to be on your own journey. You can't be looking at anyone else, because people pick up things at different times. They're ready to push themselves in certain areas at different times. So you have to be focused on you and know what level you're happy to get to at what time, when you're prepared to push yourself, and work out what will bring you happiness. Before, people are searching for happiness with perfect speech, and they realize once they can't achieve it all the time, 100% of the time, they start to get disheartened. They start to believe that nothing will ever work to help them, start to believe that they have to accept a life of struggling, a life of avoidance, a life of a job that they hate, all these different things. And when they can realize what will truly make them happy, and with me, it's, even if I know I'm going to stutter and it might take me 30 seconds to get that word out, I'm walking out of McDonald's with the meal that I want, not the meal that I know I'm going to be able to say. And that, to me, is what makes me happy, knowing that I have conditioned that in my brain. Whereas you might talk to someone else and they're like, no, listen, you need to work on this. You need to work on your perfect timing. You're struggling on this word. You need to hit that better. Remember that you use this technique like this. And it depending on the individual, it can get too much and it can drive you mad and it can really stop your progress.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I was struggling on the M group, I was spending hours and hours every day. Like, I was like, why is this technique not working for me? I shit you not, I would spend like half an hour, like, trying to get the perfect timing, like spot on. So there was like a little space between. I thought, nah, that was awful. It has to be specifically here. And I would just be obsessed with getting the word out fluently, right? And it was just such a unhealthy mindset to be in. And I think, obviously, it's not easy to just stutter, but I personally think that if you're spending hours and hours and hours just like absolutely killing yourself over a speech technique, you need to take a step back and think about what the hell you're actually trying to achieve, you know? I think that a lot of people can have a really, really unhealthy obsession with trying to use the perfect technique.
The funny thing is, with kind of with the podcast and some of the stuff we're talking about, so we have spoken about a few kind of lighthearted topics over the past few days and a few general things, but this is kind of like a massive one, because this is one of the reasons that actually led to the creation of Stop Holding Back, and in a sense the reason why we are here today. And the reason why we're here is because we aren't dictated by what any other external pressures or groups or people put on the decisions that we make. Well, we are here because we didn't want to conform to their way or their thinking when they think that they own the way things should be done. But that's really why we're here. And I just find it really funny because if they're still watching, I've got a list of everyone who's been jumping in on the feed and taking a look, and there are people from that program who have been in the background seeing what we're doing. They aren't commenting, they're just watching from a distance, probably thinking in their minds, oh, so this is what happened, da, da, da. And I always believe that if you are causing some kind of stir, you are doing something meaningful, because it's easy to follow the status quo, so easy, and just fall into place. Did you guys ever, when you were growing up, watch the Shockwaves ad? So you literally have like a whole row of people with Sandog's haircut, and then you got the guy and the girl who get the Shockwaves, chuck it on, and they're in army, they fall into line, then they run away from the army because they didn't want to conform. They wanted to live life on their terms, and that's completely okay. We aren't robots, we aren't kind of owned by anyone purely because we pay a fee 16 years ago, Chris. Completely bizarre, and that's what Stop Holding Back is all about. People.
Power to the people.
Go on, lads. Final words. Let's wrap this one up. I'm hungry.
It's been a great podcast, Ruben, Chris, Sandog.
I was halfway into a stutter there, mate.
Sorry, bro.
That's all good. After you.
No, go on. That's it.
I just want to say, please do not kick me off the M program. Love you guys.
Regardless, Sandra, there's always a place for you here. Regardless, but if things do happen, we will look forward to your take on events and an episode in the near future.
Yeah.
Christopher Jackson, final words. Final words.
Final words.
If you have any.
I'm lost for words, to be honest. I think it's been a great podcast. Everything that needed to be said was said. And yeah, no final words from me.
I think personally as well, like for you can draw a line underneath this now and just move on, right? Because in the end, it's their loss.
I drew a line underneath it ages ago. I just feel that it can have a real bad impact on anyone that they do it to in the future. That's all.
If that's what they care about, then they will address it. I doubt that's the case, but we can't save everyone, right? People have to save themselves.
Yeah, we definitely can't save everyone. Everyone has to be on their own journey and work out what's right for them. So if staying on a particular program is right for them, if trying out a few different programs is right for them, then they need to have the right to make that decision.
All right, I think we're done. All right, guys, thank you very much. Massive day. We've reached double digits. How does that feel?
Feels great. Feels good.
Yeah,
still got a long way to go. More to come.
Feels great.
Of course. We just enjoy it. Keep doing it regardless, man. Regardless. Episode 10 in the books. Thank you very much.
And don't forget, guys. Don't forget.
Do it.
Stop holding back.